parts of Oregon, a little bit into Washington. We have a second location, the Baerlic pod. It's a food cart pod, 10 food trucks, about a 10,000 square foot lot. Well, we used to have about 125, 140 seats outside. Now we have about 30 since we've reopened under the new guidelines. So it's quite a different model over there, but it is what it is. Yeah, we're rolling with it.
Awesome. So rewinding back now, almost 3 months, I guess, is when is right around when, for lack of a better term, the shutdown happened, the quarantine, the isolation, whatever you want to term it. I'll say this: as soon as that happened, I couldn't go anywhere without seeing Baerlic. Like within a week or so of that happening, it just seemed like my Facebook feed was Baerlic, my Instagram was Baerlic, my Twitter was Baerlic, the ground I walked on was Baerlic. Was that by design or by nature?
I would say it's most.
I would say that was.
Ben may have frozen.
What? Huh?
Go ahead, Rick.
I would say that it was mostly out of necessity. Just the fact that we didn't have time to wait around, and so immediately the thing to do for us was to try to push more on social media, because we hadn't in the past often relied upon social media, but this kind of forced us to reach out and hit those things that we hadn't done as deeply in the past.
And I think really to try to kind of penetrate through everything that's happening, you know, every person in this building has a point of view and an experience that is worth sharing for sure, and stories that's worth telling. I think that's the first time we really, I guess, dug into all of those stories. I mean, you know, we're a pretty holistic business as it is. We self-distribute. You know, one of our mottos around here is DIY or die. I mean, Rick and I practically built this brewery with our bare hands. So I think a lot of that, you know, all hands on deck mentality is survival was the only option. I mean, we had to, you know, we referred to the day we were shut down as the day the bomb dropped. I mean, we had to get into wartime thinking and just hustle. I mean, we had no other choice but to crawl out of the crater, you know, that we just fell into. So I think by doing that and connecting all those stories that we did through all our staff, all our, you know, our brewery, our pivot to residential delivery, I think all of that really paid off. And I think if anything, it was, you know, trying to show our staff that we were willing to do whatever it took to get through this. And like Rick said, survival was, you just kick in, fight or flight. And we decided to fight, you know?
Awesome. Yeah, fight or flight indeed. And that, I think that goes to what a lot of people were feeling. And I think there's a distinction between those who at that time went flight, got scared, and those who said, now's the time to do something different. And you did that. You pivoted big time. You've been self-distributed throughout, as far as I've known you, self-distributed, but now going into delivery in the home, that seemed to be a big pivot to that, and something I certainly saw a lot of. Was that an impression I got, or did you see an increase in doing those home deliveries, or yeah, was it? Did it? What I won't want to say profitable. That's the wrong word. But was it worth it? The effort into the home deliveries.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, you know, for that, I mean, it still is a pretty solid revenue generator for us. I think our ability to, I mean, we've had a distribution program going on 6 years now, so we just had to figure out how to flip that to a residential side. I mean, the amount of support we got in the first, you know, 6 weeks was unbelievable to us. We were pretty overwhelmed the first couple of weeks. And we got into a 7-day, I mean, to think that we flipped the entire business model, you know, in about 24 hours was pretty crazy. But to think that we also went to a 7-day operation instead of 5 days a week for distribution. We've had both vans on the road ongoing every day of the week since all this went down. We've kind of, you know, sales went really big and then they kind of plateaued and we're kind of riding that out. But yeah, it allowed us to put some cash in the bank and, you know, do anything we can to kind of ride out whatever the hell is coming next, you know?
You said that the social media may not have been, you know, a primary focus before. It certainly seemed to become one suddenly. I remember as I was just watching, you know, my early thoughts were, wow, this is a lot of posts, a lot of content. I hope they can keep this up. And you did. Was there a conversation or a plan that went into that? Like, was that divvied up between the team so that folks didn't post over top of each other? Because you could tell it was in the moment. It was porch deliveries. It was a lot of fun content from the team. How was that all strategized there?
There's no plan.
Organized chaos.
Yeah.
Putting out fires, you know, I mean, I think it takes the whole team. And I think, you know, we just thought everyone is at home right now, scrolling through their feeds. How do we cut through that in the best way we can to tell our story? And that's just where it went. All hands on deck. My wife, Tracy, jumped on the first several weeks and helped us kind of initiate a lot of it. But a lot of the content was coming from every angle of the staff, the building, and it was relentless. I mean, it seems strategic in hindsight, but at the time it was just, again, we were in survival mode, and I honestly don't remember much of the first several weeks of all that.
It was a haze. It was definitely a haze.
Traumatic.
We're also in a really good position because we don't pay another company to do our social media. So we are able to just do it all ourselves, and we could do it at any time, you know, 6 posts a day or whatever else. And it's not like we had to pay for those posts. We were doing them all ourselves.
Absolutely. And you went full bore on it. And like you said, you alluded to it, Ben, that my first reaction was like, whoa, is this too much? And then I started to notice my own habits to social media, and everybody else's habits was they were certainly on it a lot more. And all of a sudden, 3 posts a day, 4 posts a day, 6 posts a day didn't feel like overwhelming because most people, as they scrolled through, say, Instagram, they got to that caught up point and refreshed. And I feel like there were many days I even sat there just refreshing. Is anybody doing anything right now?
There was kind of a moment of pause, you know, I think globally. That's the crazy thing about this, is everyone was just reeling and having their own experience to this new reality and all the unknown, everything. I mean, I think for us, you know, everything about our brand and social media has to be super genuine. It has to come from within. And I think that was one of those times where we had a lot going on and we had a lot of genuine stories to tell. And that's, you know, not typical that's not a regular day at Baerlic, that there's, you know, that kind of collective effort happening in a brand new uncharted territory. I think that was the story we're telling, I think. And I think that helped us kind of cut through.
So in the middle of this, and I'll have to give some folks that maybe didn't see this some context for it, but in the middle of all of this, you directed, it wasn't all about Baerlic. There was a turning back to the community and celebrating the beer community at large that happened with something you called, for lack of a better term, I'll just call it Send It. Where basically people it kind of started with your typical bar slide, beer caught and, slid from one end, caught in the other. And that's kind of how it started. And then it just progressively got more insane as folks started to participate in this. Where did Send It come from? How did that start?
So that was we had our front of house manager, Nikki. That was a video we posted probably 2 years ago. And I was just going through the reel and just looking for content that was uplifting, positive, I found that it just made me laugh. And then I think someone posted or commented on the link saying that, we should egg on other breweries to do this. And I thought, well, yeah, that's a really good idea. So we started egging on other breweries to do this, and they delivered it. And I'd like to think our original idea was probably the least cool, kind of thing. But I think if anything about this industry that I absolutely love is the collegiality and the community and the fact that, even though we're all competitors, I think, we're all also in this very passionately. And I wanted to reach out because everybody in this, in the country, on this planet right now is going through what we're going through. And it has nothing to do with their own, business practices or anything. Like, everyone got shut down, and we've all got to kind of work together to survive this. I mean, I don't want to get on the other side of this and be, the only brewery that survived. Like that's not the community that got me into wanting to open a brewery.
That's awesome. It was a fun thing to see, and so neat how the community came together around it, just to have some fun, in a weird, challenging time for sure. To still amazing how many folks took a moment to do this challenge.
Right.
That just felt like it brought things together and kind of, I don't know, centered the emotions for a lot of folks all over again. We're inching up to halfway point, so I want to before we talk to Paul, I want to open it up for questions just for Baerlic specifically here. Anybody have any questions they'd like to ask Baerlic about the crazy things they've been doing these last few months?
Yeah, I gotta. Well, this isn't necessarily about the craziness or the social media, and I guess this question would maybe go out to Paul when he speaks to, if he wants to speak to it. But you made comment about the home delivery being a real boost during the lockdown, everything that was going on. And as a consumer, I loved having the home delivery, and I love that a lot of breweries have, gotten the clearance from the state to be able to do that, and now there's more shipping of beer happening. But I've talked to some of my clients that they said early on they started doing the home delivery, and it was just they kind of needed to do it to keep going until they figured out what they were going to do to move forward. But they were absolutely not making money on the home delivery. They were just bleeding money on the home delivery itself. The shipping they were fine with, but the home delivery not so much.
So then perhaps a question then, Matt, might be, how was Baerlic affected by that? Did you find home delivery to be, you said it was worth it, but was it one of those things where, hey, we're bleeding a little bit here, but it's still worth it? Or did you really come out ahead?
Would it continue post-COVID,
Yeah, I think I think we turned something on that I really don't think we can turn off now, unless the OLCC says we can't. I think that we made it work for us because, like, I was out there doing deliveries. Ben was doing deliveries. We were just doing what we could to get beer out there and sell beer. So we did everything we could, and and we did it enough so that we could actually make money at it. So we haven't had time to look back at the numbers and figure out, like, if it was like altogether good for us, but it's something that people like, and it's something that we'll continue to do.
So I have a question that kind of follows
No.
exactly what you were saying there, Rick. I think one of the images in my brain that will always stick with me throughout life when I think back to how the beer industry responded is Ben just happened to drive by I saw Karsten, my husband and I were just walking out of our house and we saw Baerlic go by. And we're like, oh gosh, there goes Ben.
It wasn't that fast though, right?
It was
No, I was following the speed limit.
Going the
don't worry.
speed limits? Yeah.
very safe. He was such a safe driver.
Yeah. Good.
But, so of course we roll by to say hello, and Ben, and forgive me, but your face just was, and this was very early on, your face was so tired. You just looked exhausted and like just worn thin, and it was incredibly impactful to just see your physical face experiencing that. So I guess my question
Hard to see his face all the time.
Yeah, that's maybe that's what I was experiencing.
I just hadn't had coffee yet.
I guess my question is kind of, at what point in time, was there a moment, are you still in it? Or was there a moment where you kind of like had figured out your model and it started to get easier? Or are you still right in there where I saw your face that one day?
I mean, I think we're in a perpetual state of that. I mean, uneasiness and stress and I mean, everything. Our numbers going to spike and they're going to shut us down again. I don't know. Like, I do know at that time it was completely reactionary and it was obviously very high stress. And to Rick's point, we were out there hustling to do what we could to save the business. And we didn't know what the next week was going to be, but all we know, I mean, Rick and I built this brewery with our bare hands, like I mentioned earlier. That's all we know. It's like when shit gets stressful, we just like head down, work hard, and failure is not an option. And that's, I mean, I always joke we started $1 million brewery with $500,000, so we're no stranger to kind of struggle and overcoming challenges like this. This was obviously the most massive, and the worst part of it was the fact that we had to send all our staff home, and that was gut wrenching. That was the worst day of my professional life. But at any rate, like we didn't know any other like that was the only option. Like we just had to get beer out the door. We were driving to, Aloha to sling a $12 4-pack. It's like there were no rules, and I think to say that we're continuing on in that. I mean, the painful part about the reopening is how slow it's been. It's really hard for me personally to react when it's not a very divisive moment where I have to make a decision. And when we were shut down, mandated to shut down by the governor, we just turned it on. Now it's painful. I mean, it's god awful how slow this is. Just like every day it's a new challenge. And again, we have no idea what's coming. And all we can do is keep on keeping on and cross our fingers and, dot our I's and keep it as safe as possible. And hopefully, I just want this over with. So if I have to work tinfoil hat for the next 6 months, I'll do it.
We've got a couple of questions. I know we're kind of reaching that halfway point, Michael, but we did have 2 questions come in through chat. One is from Chris and one's from the Brewery Insurance Guru. Chris, if you want to, I think your question kind of fits exactly with what Ben and Rick were expressing about kind of their staff. You want to unmute yourself?
Right. So you guys were saying that, from at the beginning, you guys were the ones just like get in the truck, deliver the beer, whatever. And laying off staff is really hard. I thought I had seen that you were able to hire some staff back, probably to help a lot with delivery. Kind of where are things at? You said that Barley Pod's open, so that probably helps with staffing.
Yeah. But before that, we were bringing staff on as needed. So we were able to bring on, we were able to keep our sales staff on, and Nikki was on as well, kind of running the front of house and helping with pickup orders. And then we were just hiring people as we needed. As we ran out of time to do deliveries ourselves, we would just hire back on or bring back on delivery staff to do that. Same thing with the brewery staff. We had to lay them off as well. And we were kind of keeping them on part-time. And then we would bring them on as we had more work back in the brewery. So it was all just as we had work for them, then we would bring them back on. So that's how we rolled with it. And luckily, like, our staff was really happy to come back to work and be back on the team. So.
And I would add that as of today, we have all but one of our staff back on. So it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
It's great. Right on. Well, I know other people probably have questions. I see at least one for Baerlic. I do want to move on to talk to Paul here. So we will reopen it for questions here at the end. For those that want to stick around for more questions then, but I do want to keep trucking on here and introduce Paul Ryder, who confirms for us that the Illuminati is real, and and great notions, doing some really fun things in the middle of all of this that I know what we'll spend a lot of time talking about here primarily is the app. I know it was in development before all of this. I'd encourage everyone, if you're not watching this from your phone, if you're watching this from your phone, do nothing. If you're watching this from a laptop device, grab your phone and download this app quickly. You can sign in and create an account through Facebook. It's really easy, and it's a lot of fun. I want to talk about that, but first, just like we started with Baerlic, Paul, for those that are unfamiliar, tell me about Great Notion as though I am 5 years old. Sure.
We make beer fun. We are owned by 3 neighbors. We make hazy IPAs and culinary inspired sours and stouts. We have beers that taste like a fun food item that'll nostalgically bring you back home.
And how many locations does Great Notion have right now? And am I right? There's another on the way?
There's 2 on the way. So that's kind of the pitch I say if someone is just asking what kind of beer we make, I guess, too. But if I'm talking to business folks, and I think a lot of your business folks too, we're also different than most breweries that we try to sell all of our beer direct to consumers. We don't distribute our beer as well. And we do that through our app and through our tap rooms. So we have 3 in Portland. We have Northeast Alberta. We have Northwest 28th near Montgomery Park. We opened a Beaverton location a month before COVID. And so that was open for a month and then shut down for 3. And then we have 2 in the works in Seattle. So our first location is going to open in Georgetown in August, and then a Ballard location in the fall.
Awesome. This app, first of all, and I'm gonna kind of like look at it as I'm talking to you too, because it's just a lot of fun. It kicks off and gives you kind of an overview. This lizard's talking to you, and kind of tells you what to expect. And right off the bat, I was like, this is going to be addicting. This is bringing beer into some gamification things that quite frankly got me into beer initially. I'm not ashamed to say that my life in beer, I must give many thanks to Untapped. Stupid things like earning badges for drinking 5 Belgian beers is the only reason I ever drank a Belgian beer. These things, there may be a little bit of that gamification in here. So I started out, and I am what am I called as a newbie here? I'm a greenhorn.
Yep, greenhorn.
What kind of things do I got to do here to make it to the next level?
Drink different Great Notion beers is a fun thing, right? Come into our tap rooms, which aren't open right now. That's a fun thing. In 2 weeks with the next rollout is when we're going to roll out the augmented reality for a couple characters and beer check-ins, so you can check them in a beer. We're also going to roll out our first cool like Instagram filter in there in 2 weeks too, where, you know, I don't know if you guys know the Juice Jr. guy, right? But just, you know, really funny dude, and he's holding a hat. I guess it doesn't work with my background, but whatever. But this kind of like mini version of himself pops out, but it'll be a fun Instagram filter where you can say something and it does the high pitch back to you, like, hello, Michael. Hello, Michael. Right. And post that to Instagram. So it's all marketing. I have a marketing background. I just love fun, cool new technologies. And that's, you know, we're adding that into the app.
So there's some character unlock features as well. What's that mean to unlock a character?
Unlocking a character by drinking their beer, or I don't know, maybe I think one thing we're talking about doing is in our pubs, you might be able to check it in when you take a pic of a mural that's on the wall. Is something we're working on soon too. But you get to unlock the characters and you'll get to read more about them and roll out the augmented reality or video game for each character that's going to come in the future. But each character, we have over 50. I think we have might even be 70 now or 80 different characters, and you can see them in this silly little Zoom background I have here. But it was pretty fun writing all the background stories, the origin stories for all of them.
There's a lot of fun ones in here too.
It's cool if you check out people we've done collabos with. Just a dumb example is Modern Times, right? They have a narwhal character for every collabo we do with them. So that name is MT, and of course it's spelled EMMETEE. And I know that sounds dumb as hell as I say it out loud, but it's kind of cool in my mind when you look at it on the app.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Chuck in here from Chuck's Hop Shop. Was pretty recognizable. Yeah,
there's definitely some cooler ones. I'm kind of embarrassed by those too. Sorry, that must not have been a creative day. Yeah.
I think it's a lot of fun. I see Adam Robbins in here too from Rubens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there were some things there that I was like, oh, I'm familiar with these folks, but then there were things that I wasn't familiar with, but I was super stoked to see. I mean, as a Portland Trailblazers fan, I really want to unlock Fang Hala.
Yeah, I had Dame Dalla, but thought we might get in trouble for that one.
Yeah. You know, that's the homage is clear, but the artwork and just he's a part-time rapper and a full-time basketball player. Straight up beast on the court and on the mic.
I love that this is a 15-minute pitch for our app done by you and not me. This is pretty awesome. Thank you, Michael.
I'm just having so much fun with it, and I'm actually more so embarrassed that it took me putting this together to go, oh, I should download that thing.
Yeah. Well, dude, we talked about it, right? When did I come to Vancouver? And there was that event you guys hosted there, and I was telling people, I was kind of hinting at it heavily that it's coming out. So we started to work on this thing, and I want to bring up the delivery thing too. So we started to work on this probably a year ago, is when we started putting money and time into this and thought into it. COVID aside, we had been talking about this summer, or even actually at the new year, we wanted to roll out our ability to deliver beer direct to customers and ship direct to customers, because it costs $500,000 or whatever everyone spends to open a new location, right? It's a lot of fucking money to open a new, to open a new location. So we said, you know what, why can't we just ship beer directly or deliver it? And I feel like 90% of people in Portland don't know this yet. Breweries have been allowed, the OLCC had that form a long time ago, that we're allowed to deliver beer direct to customers. No one knew. I had a friend who did some research and found that, and he said, why aren't we doing this already? I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? You can't do that. And he showed it to me. And so we can, and we've been able, we had that form a year ago, and I filled it out, and then we just never did anything with it. And then COVID hit, and it's funny, we were last to the market to do that. Everyone was delivering. Everyone was delivering way before us. We literally just started a couple weeks ago, and everyone was doing it for 3 months now, delivering beer direct to customers. But that form's been there, and we had that ability. We also had the ability to ship to customers too, but just no one's been doing it. I don't know why. It's just because it's way better when they come and eat. They get to eat a burger at your place and shake hands with you, and get your whole vibe and come and play at your pub, right? That's why. But so we started thinking about that stuff a while ago, and then, we still haven't even rolled out shipping, and everyone else beat us to the punch there. But we're going to come out with it soon. Just a little drop of knowledge for everyone too. There's 7 states in America that let you ship to them also, without jumping through that many hoops, right? So a lot of other breweries are starting to do that now too, and we're going to eventually roll that out as well.
So right when all this COVID stuff started happening, I know Great Notion was still making beer, canning beer, doing can releases, and I'm in all of the beer nerds forums and things of that nature that are talking about this, and I saw fears and objections around, I don't know if I want to go to a Great Notion can release and get in line with 200 other people. What was your first reaction to that? And then what changed? Because I know that the app came out, about a month and a half into this new world?
I feel like we put it out, at the end of April, maybe. Mm-hmm.
So what shifted for your can releases early on, and then what did this app do to further shift those things?
Well, so prior to COVID, every Saturday is when we would release new beers, and we'd have 2 or 3 beers, probably one we've done before and maybe 1 or 2 new ones, every Saturday. And there'd definitely be a line of people, and you're not allowed to have large gatherings once COVID hit. So we said, we still came out with new beers. So we just decided to do them midweek or when the beer's ready. And we thought if on a Tuesday we came out with it, that we wouldn't have a large gathering, but everyone was off at work. So we definitely still had large gatherings. So just had to communicate very clearly that people had to stay far apart and that we're not going to sell out right away. Take your time, come later in the day. To be honest, nothing's changed in the past 2 months. People still come and wait. But let me take that back. Yes, something's changed, because once we rolled the app out, we had to communicate. You have to tell people something 100 times before they finally get it. So we definitely communicate to people 1,000,000 times that we're going to drop a beer on the app in the morning. And it's just like if you buy, I don't know if any of you ever bought sneakers on Adidas's app or Nike's app, or if you bought tickets for a concert, whatever, goes on Hamilton, whatever your fancy is, right? 9 a.m. It's going to go on sale on the app. You can buy it then. You don't need to come and get it right away. You don't need to do that and then drive right there and pick it up from us. So what we do, our process is you buy a beer 9 a.m. when it drops, right? Or throughout the day if it doesn't sell out right away. And then you have to come and pick it up before we close the following day. Lots of people want us to keep it for a whole week, but we just don't have the cooler space because, I don't know, we're still canning up a lot of beer right now. But so that's the process. And people have now realized they don't have to come right when we open at 12 noon. They can buy the beer on the app in the morning at 9 or 10, and then they can come get it at 3 or 4 or 6 or the next day even. So that's how it's changed a little bit.
There's almost a 36-hour window there for them to pick it up now.
Correct. And then once we launch Seattle and Georgetown, because we do still have a lot of folks that actually drive down from Seattle all the time to get our beer, which is scary because these people are not social distancing. They're loading, 5 of their friends in the car and driving down from Seattle all at once and smoking weed the whole time. And so they're doing a bunch of things they probably shouldn't do during COVID. But either way, once we launch in Georgetown, they'll be able to buy on the app and then pick up in Georgetown.
So right now, all the pickups are at one location in Portland. It's all in Northwest.
Correct. Yeah, our Alberta location and Beaverton have been closed this whole time, so it's all at Northwest 28th.
Okay. Yeah. No, this is great. So people having that 36 hours has spaced folks out. I imagine there's still, what happens when a beer sells out? Is there inventory control here?
What do you mean by inventory control if it sells out?
Is inventory control built into the app? So, once you reach a certain point of sales, that's sold out.
We had an issue 1, maybe 2 times where it just didn't sync quick enough with, I'm not going to go into all the integrations, but it's definitely a lot of work for anyone thinking about building an app. There's like 8 different services signed up in the background, and it all looks like Great Notion, but in the background there's 8 different things going and talking to one another, right? Different integrations. But yes, there was one issue, but other than that, I feel like we've nailed it lately.
What would you say to folks who might be considering putting an app together? I imagine breweries that now that we can deliver, we can ship out to, like you said, there's 7 states just right off the bat you can ship out to. Now that that's becoming a thing and will be a thing in the future, is there anything about building an app that you would recommend to folks, like, don't do this, avoid this hurdle? What did you learn along the way that you can?
I would only give the same bit of advice I would about opening or starting any business or opening any new location, that it's going to cost actually more than 2. So a lot of people, the old adage is, right, it's going to cost double the amount of money and take twice the amount of time. But no, it's, I don't know, 4 times the amount of money and 4 times the amount of time that you think it's going to take. If you want a cool looking one, right? I'm sure there's like a million off the shelf ones you can buy or download very quickly. And that's great, right? For a business that wants to do that, just to be able to start selling beer through their own app real quickly. But we wanted to build a whole immersive world. Like, I want our customers to get in there and feel the whole Great Notion vibe and make it fun as heck and keep playing and be addictive and keep trying to move up levels or whatever, because that's stuff like I like to do and, that I did as a kid and that I still love. I'm not talking about as a kid, but stuff I love to get into, like Untapped, right? Is it all the people that love Untapped, right? And me too. I love checking new fucking badges and stuff. It's the same thing that just kids that love video games and whatever cool role-playing things or whatever cool things we loved back in the day.
Certainly, there's elements of this that are Untapped-esque in the idea of unlocking badges for doing certain activities, checking in to a beer. But this is on another level, though. This is Untapped on steroids. And
yeah, I mean, dude, we wanted to take like part of like the Marvel universe, part of Pokemon Go, put it in there. So, and I know I sound like a nerd to a bunch of people, but and mix it with beer and keep it fun as heck. I want my kids to be able to play this video game, and I don't know. I want to go back to I'm trying to do fun shit that as a kid I always want to do. Like, we just came out with a skateboard deck, right? And like, I just want to go like check off dreams that we've had in the past. Like, dude, ride my own skateboard, make my own video game, fucking make my own comic book, right? All this cool stuff you want to do. Like, I don't know. It's just advice. Like, just put your head down, grind, and do it, right?
So you mentioned comic books. Did you collect sports cards as a kid too?
I did, man. Anything you think about collecting or doing, I tried, man. I was a nerd, a skateboard dude, a rapper, a jock. I did all. I did everything.
Because I've always picked up on that with Great Notion, the parallels I can see between sports card collecting culture, sneaker culture, and some of the strategies that Great Notion's implemented. I've picked out some of those things over the years that, like you said, keeps it fun. One of the things that you said when we were there it was during North Bay Beer Week last September, and to this app. You said, and I'm paraphrasing, I may misremember, but something to the effect of Great Notion is more of a fun company than it is a beer company.
Yeah, my 2 business partners would disagree, but since I have the microphone here, I want to say yes to that. But yeah, I'm sure, dude, if any of you guys know Andy and James, right? We're the 3 of us own the company together, and we all have unique personalities, and we're all into different things. If they were on here, they'd be making fun of every word I'm saying right now. So, but they also don't like to talk to media and do things like this. I do. So I guess it's kind of skewed in my direction of what people see Great Notion as.
No, it's great. And I mean, the creativity you put into things, even in the midst of hardship, is fun. I mean, obviously we're all looking at you here with your custom Zoom background. And that's pretty great. I mean, I just tried to find a place in my office that didn't suck.
Hey, you could download ours. GreatNotion.com/ I think I just called it Zoom or something like that. I don't know. It was something right when this all started happening, right? And everyone started talking about Zoom, right? Zoom. And I was on one Zoom with a friend, and he put up a cool background. I was like, what's that all about? Right? So I just called my guys right away and had them do this and promoted it for a day or 2 and kind of forgot about it till now.
Very cool. There's a question for me in the chat. that I'm almost embarrassed to answer. How many unique check-ins do I have on Untapped? I'm approaching the 10,000 mark. I'm around 9,400. So yeah, I'm definitely still using Untapped. Haters back off.
Thank you, Chris.
But yeah, this app, the Great Notion app, is just a ton of fun. I love the gamification aspects that, you know, you're rewarding folks digitally for their loyalty when it really boils down to it. Is that right?
That's correct. Yep. Well, and more than digitally. So, I mean, like the number one prize, if you get to it, is we're going to put together a whole day. I got to think of a name. It's like Lumberjack Day or Timber Crew Day or whatever, something like that. But basically, it's going to be a whole festival for the day where they sit and chill with the three owners and our head brewers. We make a beer together. You get a session with one of our sommelier, like Tom, our GM's a sommelier. You get a session with him. You get a session with Rob about barrel aging. So that's the top prize. But then, or that's if you're a timber beast. But the level before that, I think you could be, or you can earn. Warthog second level, you get like a special cool beanie. Third level, you get access, like where you're definitely allowed to. You get like one full allocation you're allowed to purchase of a beer before it sells out or something like that. We still got to work on all that stuff. It's just, and we're gonna keep adding levels and keep adding different things in there. Can I answer a quick question from Theo?
Yeah.
So what's up, Theo? Thanks for downloading that early. But yeah, so some of the original issues, what were the original challenges? Yeah, I mean, inventory was a big one. That was something that messed up. Every day there was like 1 million bugs, but that's because it was in beta. It's still technically in beta. We still did not make a full announcement about the app yet. So fun fact for everyone, but Gmail was in beta for 5 years, right? Before they actually said this is an actual real product now and did a major announcement. But for 5 years, it was just like people found out about it through a friend or whatever, you know, or you had to click on the want list. I want to get a Gmail address, right? So our app is still in beta, even though it's been like over 2 months now. And we've, I don't know, sold like at least 50 beers on it or more by now. But yeah, we're going to do a full big announcement, I think, in the next couple weeks or something like that. And yeah, we haven't put it yet on Instagram. Like, hey, download our app. We haven't done that yet just because we didn't want it to crash until we worked out all these little issues. We definitely had a bunch of server issues. It was crashing for a while. And that's because literally like hundreds of people right at 9 a.m. who have our app. 10,000 people have the app now, over 10,000, right? And at 9 a.m. this morning, if you have that, you get a pop-up. Hey, Great Notion just dropped a new sour beer, right? And so that means all at once, hundreds, you know, a percentage of those 1,000 are all logging in at one time trying to buy that beer right there at the same exact minute. And so, yeah, that causes shit to crash, but it doesn't anymore. We upgraded. We're paying a lot to Amazon Web Services, AWS, and now, now it doesn't crash, and now it's going smooth. And we probably should just start promoting the crap out of it now. But one new problem we're having is just we can't make enough beer. So we need to definitely do some contract brewing with someone, which I don't really want to do because we don't trust other people to make our beer, or order more tanks, cut more concrete, but all that shit always takes 6 months. So that's stuff we're talking about now, and we're definitely starting to cut concrete and work on city permits because we just don't trust other people to make our beer.
So Paul, and perhaps that's what Theo was talking a little bit about, and what my information is just through the grapevine, but it sounds like you did have some challenges with the app when you first started. But the way you handled the kind of like the customer service piece really impressed me. I thought that was a really exceptional way to kind of like, you know, just like take it and go. Maybe you can talk a little bit about kind of what you did and like how you really like just took care of your customers when something messed up was happening.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely apologize a lot. It's a brand new product. We let everyone know from the beginning it's in beta and things take time, right? Rome wasn't built in a day, and we're trying to make an awesome product and try to sell it in a brand new method, you know, a new sales vehicle or whatever you want to call it. So these things take time, and we're doing everything in our power to make it an awesome product and an awesome way to receive that product. And so we definitely just apologized out of our asses. And, you know, there was once when we messed up where we oversold something, and a lot of people were mad. We literally, we said, we're going to sell you a case of this new sour beer. And in the end, all we had to do was give someone, instead of 6 4-packs, we gave them 5 4-packs each. And that let us then make enough. And people still flipped out about it and we're sorry. But then a couple days later, we just said, you know what? free 4-pack. We just canned up some stuff from leftover kegs that were sitting around. We have old blueberry muffin, big papaya. Come and get it. We screwed up. And we definitely refunded people for that extra 4-pack. But then we said on top of that, we got a free 4-pack for you. Come and get it. We love you guys. You're awesome. So that's what we did. Yeah, dude, we want to make our customers happy, dude. They come first. And then I don't know, just a couple more questions. People were writing there, by the way. We're not going to do a freestyle, Jason. Thank you. Unless you show us your golf swing. But so real quick, Theo asked, I think, about French toast. We definitely have it, right? And it's probably ready. We just haven't had the time. So we have the new version of Bourbon Barrel Double Stack and Bourbon Barrel French Toast, which we do want to release this summer. We just, man, things are crazy right now, and we don't necessarily have the time to do it today. But they're almost ready, and we're going to drop them soon. Thank you. Yeah, someone else too. We're not planning on brewing in Seattle yet. The 2 locations that we've signed leases on are just for tap rooms, because our location, Northwest 28th, is so huge and the ceilings are so large that we can definitely fit a lot more tanks in there, and much larger tanks as well to support a couple more locations. So that's where we're going to brew still in Portland.
So as we're getting down to the last few minutes here, I want to respect everyone's time, but any questions first specifically for Paul with what we
besides a freestyle?
Yeah, any more questions? No? All right.
I have a question. So since Michael hyped up the app, who actually did download it on here for real? Cool. Who just downloaded it today while we're talking about it? Nice. Well, thanks, Michael, for getting 5 new customers.
Or
potential customers, people to download it. So yeah, so right after the July 4th holiday, that's when we're gonna roll out the new version of it. That will have 2 augmented reality characters plus the Instagram filter plus I don't know what else. One other feature in there too. And then we're probably going to open our Beaverton location for pickup only. Again, right after the holiday. And then at the end of the month, we'll probably reopen all 3 locations.
This is it's been great talking to both of you in this. And one of the things I've been thinking about as we talk through this is 2 very different yet very effective reactions to COVID-19 and what's going on in the world. Baerlic talked about really their very genuine and very real grassroots gritty approach to all of this that resonated with DIY or die is what I wrote down from what Ben said. And I think that's awesome that they just said, fight or flight, we're gonna fight. And that's such a rad attitude to see. And on the other side, great notion already with plans in the works, being able to pivot your business model, and even perhaps, and maybe I'm assuming this, and you can clarify for me, Paul, but did the app release a little ahead of schedule, perhaps because of things, or was this the time anyhow?
It did. That's
so
funny.
Yeah. So like you said, it's okay for things to be in beta for a while.
Wave, like a baseball game wave?
What's that?
Is this like a baseball game wave we kind of just did? That's funny. Yeah, we definitely rushed it a little bit. I mean, it was supposed to come out in January, but then it was another month, and 2 more weeks. But yeah, we definitely rushed it. We thank our lucky stars that we have some really loyal customers that love the weird, wacky styles of beer we do.
And it was a refreshing thing on both ends. The Instagram and Facebook craziness from Baerlic and the Send It thing and the app coming out, like it drew attention during a time where digital attention was at a premium. There were a lot more eyeballs, but standing out took an extra effort. And here we saw that extra effort in 2 different ways. So I really super appreciate you guys sharing some of that insider information, allowing us to kind of pick your brain as to how all this came together and how you think about these challenges and approach them has been a lot of fun. So thank you all, and we'll do this again next week, where we're going to talk to some folks from Von Ebert and Ecliptic, including John Harris will join us next week. So that'll be pretty fun. Maud, thank you for being the moderator of this whole thing. And Charlie Brown, thanks for technically putting all these things together for us. And yeah, Maud.
And Rick, Paul, thank you again so much for sharing your intense activity and grit. And I know you're really busy right now, so I just thank you so much. It's awesome to see your faces. Michael, Charlie, thank you so much for making this happen. And thank you everyone for jumping on, and we hope to see you next week.